Welcome to Model Horse Tack School. My name is Carrie, and today we're going to do the Pony Express saddle. Okay, we have to start with the tree, all right? This is your tree base. And then you need these pieces. See those? So we're going to take and flip that over, and we're going to glue these to match this. See that shape? Just like that. And we're going to make sure it matches on the inside. So, matches here and here, which means it's not flush over here. And that's on purpose, because it's going to go like this, and it's going to actually create the seat, right? Now we need to let that glue have a chance to dry. So we're going to take and glue the aluminum onto this piece here, matching the holes, the hand grips, okay? All right, and that way I don't see the aluminum at all from this side. Sit that for a bit. All right, now we've got to build the pommel. So we need these 3 pieces, and make that 4. We need this one. So the first thing I want to do wow, those edges are a little rough. So when the edges are a little rough, we just kind of flatten it. And what we need to do is get this to wrap here. You could glue it first if you want. Let's see. Gotta find the right pliers. I'll go ahead and pull that up. And then we're going to start piling these on. I did not skive these. I decided not to. I wanted the full thickness, so Now the trick with this is try to get this outside flush. All right, so this outside is flush. All right, we'll set that aside. This should be ready now, so we're going to go ahead and glue it right here, right where it matches that front part. And we are going to push this down when we do it. So you might want to get some clamps ready. And we're not going to glue there because I want that to go up and make that roll where you're front of the seat when you sit. So what I'm trying to do is this is going to be a bit of a pull. We'll go ahead and try and rotate that a little bit. All right, that should get me a nice roundness to it, and I'll put that aside. Next is we're going to take this to the back of that. So I want this noticeable. I want this seen, and you'll see I've notched it so it should fit right there all the way around. And if it extends a little bit over, that's fine. We can trim this, but we need to make sure that we cover the aluminum. Should not see the aluminum. So either however you want to do this, but I'm gonna do it onto the. This is kind of a suede, not a skiver. It's kind of unique. It's a remnant of when my mother was making belts, oh, a very long time ago. So it's kind of just a scrap piece that happens to kind of look like vegetable tanned. It's not quite, but I decided to use it up. All right. And that should, for the most part, hide the metal. I mean, we don't want anybody to see that. But that is what's providing shape, so. And yes, it had handholds, which is like what the McClellan saddle, the Army saddle has. So I don't have a pattern for that. I may have to remember and get that. That's another good historical. So if you're looking for a historical costume or outfit or something for a non-Arabian, it's probably a good one. That needs to be edge coated. So this is probably the wrong color. I'm going to use black. I used dark brown. I have to go to Tandy. My edge coat's getting dried up. I was barely able to finish this. So there's always a Sharpie. that other brown has got too much red in it. It will clash with the dye that I used here. Okay, we'll go ahead and put that aside since I shouldn't be able to see the aluminum. I think that'll work. All right, so our next piece is going to be the horn. And so we want to, so this is your armature for the horn. And we really need to cover that first. So I don't really want that to fold under like that. I kind of want it like this so that it's up. It's not going to be like a rope or anything. This is just a handhold to grab it and jump in. So, and the next thing is this piece right on top. And I'm going to go ahead and have it go all the way down here. And then all the way around the top there. All right. Now, it would usually be sewn, and usually you would push the bottom up. So that's what we're going to do here. I want to push the bottom up. And now we need to wrap this to hide the metal. And you can see right there, there's the metal. So I'm going to bring it around. Like that. And then pull and bring it around. That looks better. So you should look and see how a horn is wrapped. And if it's like a handmade saddle, it's going to be different than if it's factory. But your handmade saddles usually have a wrap like this, where you got one comes around in the back. And then we can go ahead and trim that. And then you'll have one that goes in the front. So it's another one of those where I'd very carefully edge coat that. Just around the tip of the horn. Because they would. And they would probably use a dark color too. All right. Now, there's different ways to do this. I should probably should have worked that hole bigger before I did this, but that'll work. And let's see now. Let's turn that. So one side is just a little bit bigger than the other, and so the bigger side I would have in the back. And then what we're going to do, if this works, we're going to put this in here. So I'll glue that in there. And this is where, like I said, go ahead and use the rectangle, but sometimes with this arch, you can, it's perfect, and it happens every once in a while, and I know this stuff won't do it. It's a very thin, like, I want to call it, was kip, probably kip, more likely it was calf. It's that hard to find leather. And it was just the right thickness, and it was made out of a 2-3 kip, which is really not, it's more of a, or calf, and that's usually more of a 1. It's not quite Skyver, but it's just beautiful stuff. Okay, so the next step is you want to push this up, and we want it to glue right like that. So I'm going to put the glue right on the edge here. And now we're going to okay, so there's your gullet, right? I'm just letting it set up a little bit while I play with it. All right, so the next thing we need to do is go ahead and get your shoulders. On the pommel. So I'm pulling it back a little bit. I don't know if you noticed that. So I'm trying to match edges, right? So I'm pulling this back to try and match those edges. So it looks like that. And then you kind of have that. After you get your shoulders glued down, is to go ahead and glue your back and another healthy dose in here. It's not as finished, but it's easier. And go ahead and match This is where having these toothless helps, as you want to squeeze it and push it down. You want all of this, push all that down, right, so that that's done. And then we can just kind of cut that like that, right, so that the seam, just make sure you have that seam closed back here. And then go ahead and glue under. So you want it to glue here and there, right? And then we can pull this off. And that's just a little bit easier. You can figure out what works for you. I like to try and wrap all the front if I can. So okay. And no matter how you do it, see, this one got a little bit off, so I would trim that. I don't like to do that. That means it's not symmetrical anymore. And then not only do I need to do around the horn, but also make sure that you do edge coat around here. I mean, mine's really obvious that it's a different color, so I really need to edge coat it. There's your seat assembly. So now what we're going to do with the seat is you're going to put glue all the way in here, everywhere, especially right in here, all the way to the edge, and we're going to match it in the front. You'll have to trust me. The seat will go right where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to make sure I got glue right in there. This is basically my leather saddle tree modified. Hint, hint, you can modify these patterns for the Pony Express. Because a standard tree, the shoulders are too big, and they're also not necessary for delivering mail. That's usually the shoulders that keep you in the saddle when you're working animals. So, all right, all the way. Look at that, it's magic. Isn't that cool? It's magic. Didn't even have to work hard to get the seat to come up. Now the only thing you might want to do is work that aluminum a little to make it even. Sometimes it's not that even. But without even working at it, I got a seat. Pretty cool. Alright, now we're going to glue this on the other side. So that's what these little wings are here. And a little bit on the back. I put too much in the front there. Let's see what we can do with that. So this, maybe some of that, needs to go on the back here. because I'm going to glue it. Right like that. Okay. Okay, before the days of equine science, they pretty much had a philosophy of, whatever works. So, we need two 10mm jump rings, and make sure they are closed. I'm going to take the short end of your rigging piece, fold it over, make sure they're mirror images. See how that's mirrored? Okay. And then other one. So it looks like that. That's your rigging. I'm going to clamp that one. Okay. Now what we want is for the loop to sit on this piece here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just glue those two pieces way up here so that there's some movement. You can get your fingers in there to put in the latigo. It's going to be the same on either side, but basically you're going to want to make sure that's centered like that. And they're long because we don't want them to get pulled out, right, when you're pulling on them. Oops, a little much there. A little bit of that. All right, like that. Now if you want to, you can push them in or out, or just clip off the excess. Me, I'm going to clip off the excess. Let's see how these work. Huh. There we go. And now we're going to glue it under here. Now, here's the whatever works thing. We nowadays would put it right here. They had it further back. So it's almost around the belly instead of towards the front. So I want to go historically accurate, even though somebody's going to look at that and go, that's wrong. And it's not. You know, this is what we talk about, the olden days. The olden days is not my childhood. The olden days was way back in the 18, 19, whatever, hundreds. All right. So we try to get it symmetrical. And I'll go ahead and clamp that so that it's got a chance to dry. But that is the way it is.